Hey everyone, welcome back to Corporate Decoder, the place where we dissect corporate filings so you don't have to. Today we're diving into a Form 8K filing. It's a current report from Graphjet Technology, and let me tell you, it's not exactly a glowing review. Imagine getting two uh-oh letters from Nasdaq in a single week. It's like getting detention twice in a row. We're going to break down why Graphjet is in a bit of a bind and what it all means for the company. Scroll date of report date of earliest event reported, February 28, 2025/scroll. So this report is dated February 28, 2025, which means the earliest event they're reporting happened on that day. This is important because companies have to quickly inform investors of significant events. In this case, a warning from Nasdaq, the stock exchange they are listed on. Scroll item 3.01. Notice of delisting or failure to satisfy a continued listing rule or standard, transfer of listing/scroll. The big story here is that Graphjet received not one, but two notices from Nasdaq. The first one is about being late with their financial reports. It's like forgetting to turn in your homework, but instead of a bad grade, you risk getting kicked off the stock exchange. Scroll the initial delinquent filing with the Securities and Exchange Commission/scroll. Apparently, Graphjet was late in filing their report for the period ended September of 2024, and then they were late again for the period ended in December. That's a double whammy. Missing one deadline is a mistake. Missing two looks a bit more like a problem. Nasdaq's rule is that companies have to file these reports on time to keep their listing. They get a warning, and then there's a chance to get removed or delisted from the exchange. Nasdaq gave Graphjet until late April to come up with a plan to catch up on their filings. If Nasdaq accepts their plan, they might get until July to actually file the reports. This is essentially a get your act together period. But wait, there's more. Graphjet also received a second notice from Nasdaq. This one is about their market value. Think of market value like the overall price tag on the company based on what investors think it's worth. The problem is that Graphjet's market value fell below $50 million for a while. There is a minimum level to stay on the Nasdaq global market. It's like saying your store has to make a certain amount of money or it will be shut down. Scroll until September 1, 2025, the MVLS compliance period, to regain compliance with the MVLS rule/scroll. They have until September 1, 2025 to get their market value back above that $50 million mark for at least 10 business days in a row. If they can't, they could get kicked off the Nasdaq global market, but there's a possible plan B. They could move to the Nasdaq capital market, which has less strict requirements. It's like moving from a fancy neighborhood to a more affordable one. Scroll the first notice and the second notice have no immediate effect on the listing or trading of the company's ordinary shares on the Nasdaq global market/scroll. For now, Graphjet shares can still be traded on Nasdaq. But these notices are warnings that things need to improve and fast. The company says they're watching their market value and will look at their options. But they also admit there's no guarantee they'll be able to fix these problems. This is not the language a company uses when it is confident it will survive the challenge. Scroll item 5.02, departure of directors or certain officers, election of directors, appointment of certain officers, compensatory arrangements of certain officers/scroll. And now for a twist, on March 3, one of Graphjet's executive directors, Ajin Rong, resigned. It's like someone jumping ship in the middle of a storm. The company says it wasn't because of any disagreements, but the timing is definitely interesting. Perhaps Oz saw the writing on the wall and decided to leave. Companies always say this when an executive leaves. It's rare to see a company admit that an executive left due to disagreements. Scroll item 7.01. Regulation FD. Disclosure/scroll. To inform the public, Graphjet issued a press release about these notices. This is required by something called Regulation FD, which is all about making sure everyone has the same information at the same time. Scroll a press release dated March 6, 2025, disclosing the company's receipt of the notice referenced above is attached here too as Exhibit 99.1/scroll. Basically, they had to tell everyone what was going on, rather than letting the news leak out slowly. So what does all of this mean? Well, it's not a great look for Graphjet. They're late on their financial reports, their market value is down, and an executive just resigned. This suggests real problems with the company, though it is possible that Graphjet is experiencing growing pains. There's a real risk they could get delisted from Nasdaq, which would make it harder for investors to buy and sell their stock. Delisting from Nasdaq can signal trouble, leading investors to sell shares, which can further depress the company's market value. It's a negative spiral that companies want to avoid. On the other hand, Graphjet has a little bit of time to turn things around. They could get their filings in order and find ways to boost their market value. However, it will not be easy. Overall, Graphjet is facing some serious challenges. They need to get their act together quickly if they want to stay on Nasdaq. They need to resolve these issues promptly to reassure investors and demonstrate financial stability. It will be interesting to see if they can turn things around. Thanks for watching Corporate Decoder. If you found this breakdown helpful, give us a like, drop a comment, and subscribe for more deep dives into the world of corporate filings. Until next time.